The year 2025 will be etched into the annals of Indian military history as a period of profound transformation and trial by fire. For years, India had been methodically building a formidable defense ecosystem, focusing on indigenous production and strategic international partnerships. This quiet revolution in military affairs was aimed at establishing credible deterrence and ensuring regional stability through strength. The world watched as India steadily integrated advanced technologies, moving from a position of strategic restraint to one of proactive defense. The national sentiment was clear. India would no longer be a passive observer, but an architect of its own security, prepared to meet any challenge with overwhelming technological superiority and unwavering resolve. This resolve was put to the ultimate test in May 2025. The catalyst was a horrific terrorist attack on April 22nd in Pahalgam, Kashmir, where 26 innocent Indian tourists lost their lives. The international community largely accepted India's assessment that the Pakistan-based resistance front was responsible. The ensuing four-day conflict from May 7th to May 10th was unlike any previous engagement between the two nations. It was a high-technology, limited war characterized by the extensive use of cruise missiles, sophisticated drones, and multi-layered air defense networks. This brief but intense confrontation became the first real-world showcase of India's modernized warfighting doctrine and its newly acquired capabilities. Before the conflict, a series of escalating steps signaled the gravity of the situation. Following the attack, India's Navy conducted anti-ship missile drills to demonstrate its long-range precision strike readiness. Diplomatic ties were severed, airspace was closed, and trade was suspended. Pakistan responded with its own missile test, a clear strategic signal. The stage was set for a clash that would not be fought with infantry on the ground, but with algorithms and advanced munitions in the skies. This was a new kind of warfare for South Asia, and India had been preparing for this very moment, ready to unveil the true power of its modernized arsenal. The events of May 2025 were a crucible, forging a new narrative of Indian military power. The conflict was not just a retaliatory action, it was a carefully calibrated demonstration of India's capacity to inflict significant, precise damage on an adversary's military infrastructure from a standoff distance. This was a significant departure from past skirmishes, showcasing an advanced level of operational planning and technological integration. The United States played a crucial role in mediating a ceasefire, but the message had been sent. India's defense posture had evolved, proving its ability to dominate the modern non-contact battlefield and setting a new precedent for regional security dynamics. During the four-day conflict, India unleashed a carefully coordinated offensive that showcased the depth and diversity of its missile inventory. This was not a random barrage, but a symphony of fire, with each system playing a specific role. The spearhead of the attack was the Indo-Russian BrahMos supersonic cruise missile. These formidable weapons were used in a series of coordinated strikes against at least 11 high-value Pakistani military sites, including critical air bases and command and control centers. The sheer speed and low flight trajectory of the BrahMos missiles made them incredibly difficult to intercept, allowing them to penetrate deep into enemy territory and deliver their payloads with devastating accuracy. Complementing the BrahMos were the French-made Scalp EG cruise missiles, launched from Indian Air Force fighter jets. These long-range, stealthy missiles were instrumental in the deep strike missions, targeting hardened infrastructure that required a different kind of precision. Alongside these, Israeli-origin munitions like the Crystal Maze and Rampage missiles were also deployed, providing Indian forces with a range of options to neutralize different types of targets. Furthermore, specialized anti-radiation Harpy and Harop drones were used with lethal effectiveness, hunting down and destroying Pakistani air defense radars near key locations like Lahore, effectively blinding the enemy's eyes in the sky. On the defensive front, India's multi-layered integrated air and missile defense system performed exceptionally well, creating a nearly impenetrable shield over its vital assets. The system's outer layer, composed of the Russian-made S-400 Triumph, was deployed and proved its worth in detecting and tracking incoming threats at long ranges. The S-400 network was a cornerstone of India's defensive strategy, providing a formidable barrier against both aircraft and ballistic missiles. Its successful operation sent a powerful message about the strength of India's strategic defenses and its ability to protect its sovereign airspace against complex threats. The effectiveness of this integrated shield was further demonstrated by the success of the Indo-Israeli Barak 8 surface-to-air missile system. In a notable engagement, a Barak 8 battery successfully intercepted and destroyed at least one Pakistani Fateh-2 short-range ballistic missile aimed at a target near Sirsa. This successful interception was a landmark achievement, proving the system's capability against ballistic missile threats in a real combat scenario. The synergy between the S-400, Barak 8 and other indigenous systems ensured that the waves of Pakistani drones and missile salvos caused minimal to no damage to Indian military installations, validating India's massive investment in a robust layered defense network. The May 2025 conflict starkly highlighted the performance gap between India's diversified arsenal and Pakistan's heavy reliance on Chinese-made military hardware. While Pakistan retaliated with its own missile and drone strikes, their impact was largely nullified by India's superior defenses. Pakistan launched its indigenously developed Fateh-1 and Fateh-2 short-range ballistic missiles, marking their first-ever use in combat. It even reportedly fired a Chinese-made CM-401 hypersonic anti-ship missile at a land target. However, these offensive actions failed to achieve any significant strategic objectives, with satellite imagery and international reports confirming little to no damage to Indian targets. The performance of Pakistan's Chinese-origin air defense systems was particularly telling. Systems like the HQ-9 and HQ-16, which form the backbone of Pakistan's air defense network, were largely ineffective. They failed to detect or deter the initial waves of Indian cruise missiles and airstrikes, allowing Indian forces to hit their targets with impunity. This failure was a major blow to the credibility of China's military exports. While Pakistan claimed its J-10C fighters, armed with Chinese PL-15 missiles, shot down several Indian aircraft, it provided no evidence to support these claims, and India firmly denied the loss of any pilots in the conflict. One of the most significant moments of the conflict was the historic long-range takedown of a Pakistani SAB-2000 airborne early warning and control system. The Indian Air Force successfully shot down the aircraft from an astonishing distance of 314 kilometers deep inside Pakistani airspace. This unprecedented kill demonstrated India's superior long-range air-to-air combat capability and its ability to dominate the skies. The failure of the Pakistani AEWC's protective escort and its own defense systems to counter the attack underscored the technological and tactical advantage held by the Indian forces throughout the engagement. The outcome of the conflict served as a sobering reality check for nations relying heavily on Chinese military technology. The poor performance of these systems in a real-world high-intensity combat scenario has raised serious questions about their reliability and effectiveness. Reports from the Indo-Pacific Defense Forum noted that the skirmish negatively impacted the credibility of Beijing's arms exports. In contrast, India's strategy of diversifying its acquisitions from trusted partners like Russia, Israel, and France, while simultaneously boosting its indigenous capabilities, proved to be far more resilient and effective on the modern battlefield. The lessons learned from the May 2025 conflict have invigorated India's push towards developing next-generation defense technologies. The experience validated the country's current capabilities, while also highlighting the need to stay ahead in the rapidly evolving landscape of military technology. A key focus area is the development of hypersonic weapons. Just weeks after the conflict, on June 5, 2025, India conducted another successful test of a scramjet engine, marking a critical milestone in its quest to develop hypersonic cruise missiles. These weapons, capable of traveling at more than 5 times the speed of sound, would provide India with an even greater standoff advantage, making them nearly impossible to intercept. Beyond hypersonic missiles, India is also accelerating the development and induction of advanced unmanned aerial vehicles and sophisticated drone swarms. The successful use of Israeli Harop drones in the conflict demonstrated the immense value of loitering munitions in suppressing enemy air defenses. Building on this, Indian defense labs are working on next-generation combat drones that are faster, stealthier, and equipped with artificial intelligence for autonomous operations. The goal is to create a force structure where manned and unmanned systems work together seamlessly, overwhelming an adversary's decision-making cycle and ensuring mission success with minimal risk to human pilots. The strategic outcome of the 2025 conflict was a resounding validation of India's military modernization strategy. Satellite imagery confirmed that Indian strikes inflicted significant damage on multiple Pakistan Air Force bases, including Noor Khan, Bolari, and Sargodha, reportedly knocking out a substantial portion of their operational infrastructure. The strike on Noor Khan Air Base, located near Pakistan's nuclear command, was a symbolic message that no target is beyond reach. In contrast, India suffered minimal damage to its own military assets, a testament to the effectiveness of its integrated defense shield. This demonstrated superiority has fundamentally reshaped the strategic calculus in the region. Ultimately, the breakthroughs of 2025 have solidified India's position as a dominant military power in the region, capable of defending its interests with a technologically advanced and battle-hardened force. The conflict underscored the importance of a robust, multi-layered defense and the strategic advantage of possessing a diverse and precise long-range strike capability. For India, the path forward is clear. Continue to invest in cutting-edge indigenous defense technologies, strengthen strategic partnerships, and maintain a posture of credible deterrence. The nation's security in the 21st century will be defined by its mastery of technology and its unwavering commitment to protecting its sovereignty.